All right. Hi, you guys.
This is a walk and talk, but I wanted to start with this. This is a copy of the Congressional Record, 73rd Congress, first session that took place on Thursday, March 9th, 1933. And I'll leave it here so you can read it, but it's interesting. They started with a prayer. A lot of people, a lot of us, I do, believe the last reset occurred in 1901. So this is 1933, page 83 of the Congressional Record of what Senate was doing. And as you can read, as you read through this, you can see that it's a very different time. And we really don't have a lot of information like after 1901 or thereabouts, which if you think about it is 911. And we have the orphan trains, and they repopulated the earth with all these children that seemingly came out of nowhere. And so all that weird stuff that we've all looked at, certainly I have. And so the whole point here is to keep us as laborers in the system. And when they remove, these guys create everything. And it's presented to us as like some kind of a tragedy, some kind of emergency, because this is, and then it's the constant fear mechanism, with the media. And at that time, it would be, of course, newspapers and telegraph. I don't know if they had telegraph then. Anyway, we went backwards in technology, as many people have now figured out. We have, that's why they can tell us that they don't spy on us and that we need wireless and all this stuff, when actually, like even at my house, they have two internet hubs on my account, but they can turn the one off that allows me to use it, and at the same time they can still have the other one on to spy on me through all my devices. They're always watching us all the time, and that's not a paranoid thing. It just is what it is in this simulation, whatever you want to call it. But everything's about money here, and this is why I like this, because this talks about what they did with the money. I'm only going to read a small portion. You can read the rest of it. And where it's highlighted here, it says, under the new law, the money is issued to the banks in return for government obligations. Bills of exchange, drafts. See, a draft is a banknote. A draft is a check. That's why if you think about it, when they do a draft for the military, it's all about money, because we are the money. We have the estate, and they put the drafts, they put the notes, they put the obligations, the mortgages, the bankers' acceptances, whatever you want to call it. Any NDI, negotiable debt instrument, is attached to our estate, which we are born with. Now you can say it's from whomever, but this is why they've been handing out Social Security numbers like candy for the last 10 years to anyone coming over the border. This is where they get the money to say that, I think it was 92 billion that they're going to send over to the stripper in Ukraine. This is where that money comes from. Then they attach a lien to our estates. And this is why everything here that operates on Admiralty Maritime Law, and they're the pirates. And when we step back and really understand that they've stolen our treasure from us, we have to take the position of admiral in this maritime shipping war. Everything is based on law of the sea, and they treat us like vessels. That's why when you read the Bible, you can really start to understand that money is the mark of the beast. So right here is when this changed for our dispensation, for people living right now. So under the new law, the money is issued to the banks in return for government obligations, bills of exchange, drafts, notes, trade acceptances, and bankers' acceptances. The money will be worth 100 cents on the dollar because it is backed by the credit of the nation. Who's the credit of the nation? The people. See, this is what they attach to. It will represent a mortgage. What's a mortgage? On all the homes and other property of all the people in the nation. The money so issued will not have 1 penny of gold coverage behind it, because it is really not needed. We do not need gold to back our internal currency. We only need people. We only need gold to settle our balances with foreign countries. Our people do not actually use gold as a medium of exchange. Our people. Paper money is just as good, and it's much easier to handle. However, if gold is desired as a backing for paper money, we have a sufficient amount to permit the issuance of 5,000 to, or 5 million, is that 5 million or billion, more money, and still have a gold reserve of 40%. When England paid us approximately 1 million in gold last December, the Treasury should have taken that gold and issued 250 million in paper money, using the gold as a sufficient coverage of 40%. And the money should have been put into circulation by paying it to government employees or other governmental debts. Instead, the gold was delivered to the private banks and the government given credit for the amount. So what has been going on in this country forever, and what the Civil War was about and all this different stuff, is to try to keep these private bankers out. And everything here is based on attaching the worth of the money after this point, 1933, when it no longer is backed by gold or silver, is, and here it even talks about England paying for America. It's all by obligation. That's why this country is built on debt. And that's why the fight has always been trying to keep these lizards out of the country that do everything by putting liens, which are L-I-E-N, lying. They lie, right? This is what the Messiah was saying, is that their father is a liar. You know, again, when you start to really understand the Bible is mostly about money, certainly what the Messiah was talking about, then you'll see the difference. Like, a lot of people haven't been able to really explain the difference between Peter and Paul. Paul's a Roman soldier, and he works for the Vatican. So he is a representative of what we see in the church, certainly throughout my lifetime, and my parents and their parents, and about since this time, you know, all these generations. And he told you that you want to worship and stand up, worship the government. And you go, why? Because he represents the kind of person that works in the Vatican. The Vatican is that holds all our birth certificates and all the money. And I guess the reason I'm sharing this with you in a really weird roundabout way is I think when people start taking their estate back and they start challenging the status quo, and they understand that they are millionaires, billionaires, and that nothing, and just because it goes on here doesn't mean it's right. Just because nobody understands it doesn't mean it's right. And there's different ways to take control of your estate. And I'm just kind of talking about this because I'm going to share more information with you guys of what I'm doing to cancel out debt, to liquidate liens that were put on my estate without my knowledge, without full disclosure. And this is all the stuff that keeps us as slaves in America. That's why I've been saying for years now, we're all slaves. It doesn't matter what they were doing in other people's generation. And not that it doesn't matter. Of course it does, if it's true. But right now, in your life, you're a slave unless you are able to untangle yourself from these criminals that have put obligations and debt on. The only reason they're handing out Social Security cards to anybody and everybody in America is, first, it's part of the plan to bring it down because they build back better. They build it up, they destroy it, and it's what they do. You know, reset after reset after reset here because we're living in purgatory. This is a game. This is something you want to figure out, and this is the biggest part. Money's the mark of the beast. And the reason it's the mark of the beast is because of this. Because this is when they started attaching the value of money to our blood. And this is what the blood reference is in the Bible. So you can see why religion is so important to keep them brainwashed, right? They present it as being holy, like from some guy named Paul, right? It used to be Saul. And And all these religious zealots want to keep you in futurism. As long as you don't understand what's going on right in your life immediately today at this moment, you have no power. But what it does, it keeps you future tripping. It keeps you dreaming about the future. Oh, I'm going to be free when I die. I'm going to have money when I die. I'm going to go to heaven. There's mansions being built, which is all metaphors. It's all metaphors, and it's unbelievable. Anybody that interprets the Bible as literal has no clue of what it's about at all. It's all metaphors. It's all analogy and this is why you need the Holy Spirit to crack the code. And this is why they have things called codes and statutes, right? So in this video, I'm just really talking about how important it is to understand that you were born with money. And this is why they attach to it. This is why they attach to it. This is where all the money comes from to back everything. They do it by bondage, by liens and bonds. And lien is spelled L-I-E-N, lion, because they're liars from the pit of hell. So I wanted to just put this in here, and you can read it. And then I'm doing a walk and talk, and I'm just kind of sharing with you more about this kind of thing, because I think it's critical that even before people get their 3 EINs, that they really understand what you're doing with that. And the 3 EINs represent the Trinity. And I'm going to get into teaching more stuff. This video, I'm not going to, because I just really, even when people start doing all this stuff, unless you really understand that you have been stolen from, that this thing operates on maritime admiralty law, you're an admiral, and what it's going to take for you to push these people away from your estate. It's a fight. It's a war, literally. And I can't think of anything better to do at this point in time.
I showed you the air compressor here. It was here yesterday, pumping air down here. Wonder if these numbers have anything to do with anything. I'm sure they do. I'm sure these tunnels route to something. You know, this is clearly a place for air to escape and come in. You know, some people have shown, you know, all these things that have remained after the last reset. And a lot of them look to be like they are holes to release energy from the earth or underground. So, nothing to see here. Anyway, yeah, these were like generators or air compressors, you know, really weird because it all went up like bam. They rolled in with all this temporary fencing and everything the day before the eclipse. Really a trip. So, you know, if you're really a conspiracy theorist, you could speculate. Did all the lizards go underground? They could take those Christians and Hebrew Israelites with them that are all waiting to get picked up by a UFO or raptured. No, time just goes on, just like I said it would, just like most of you know. My favorite Hebrew Israelite came back online yesterday. Oh, he looked very spiffy too. And started reading some scripture. Everything's different now. How are you going to keep your followers in their piece of shit jobs, right? Because this is what these leaders have to do. I have the utmost respect for this guy. But at the same time, I was looking at my Google Drive that started like 4 years ago when I started talking about T-Rump and the medicine and all the stuff, and then certain people's timeline and the seals being opened and all that. And I look at that now and I'm just like, I'm glad I went through it all, but I have no interest in it now at all. I actually want to live now. I actually was wishing I would die last year because I saw no hope to be here. None. Because when you're really fully awake and you're not wealthy and you have to work among these lizards and these religious zealots and all these freaks. And now there's something else, you know, they're transhuman, they're connected to the hive. If you remember that movie, The Cell, I don't really like it because it's so gross, but I truly believe that because I've talked about this 2 years ago, the nanotechnology that they've installed in them, the ones that haven't croaked, they're all wireless towers. They're all in the hive mind. And it talked about that extensively in this one scene, that it's one for all and all for one, and it's always to protect the hive. That's why they all work on the same frequency. That's why those of you that are truly awake, this place is awful. But you know what? When I come out here, this is my my palace. I would rather be here than anywhere. Look at these flowers. Isn't this amazing? Stunning. So beautiful. And those of us that know the first day of spring is April Fool's Day. I saw that on the television they're saying that they're going to send that stripper over in the UK or Ukraine, 96 billion or something. Awesome. See, they can afford to do that now because they brought all the people over the border and they gave them a social security number. They set them up with their estate and trust. Now they can put liens against that. That's how this system works. I made this little graph because my hope and my goal is I'll never charge for any of the information I give you. I see absolutely no reason to do that. Most of the people that need this information have no money. They live paycheck to paycheck. $100 is a huge amount of money to most people in this time especially. That literally is in some cases less than what's needed to fill up your car for gas. So yeah, I would never think to charge anyone for anything. Bartering's fine. Again, you guys, I think that when you adopt other people's processes without reading, without the knowledge, you're going to fail. And this is what the Messiah taught us. The whole Bible is about banking. It's so serious. There's nothing that goes on here. Every minute of every day, of every year, of every hour, of every second. It's money. Money is the mark of the beast. So, you wouldn't understand that though, unless you allow your mind to open up to how the economy operates here. That's not going to be promoted on YouTube. Why would it be? YouTube is run by the beast system. They use it. It's one of their biggest weapons after the church, the Christian church, to keep people asleep and brainwashed. It's all about getting that crown of thorns on your head and keeping it there for your whole life. And then taking your keys to the kingdom and nailing you to the bolt so you can't move as a dead straw man. Now, you know that video I put up, I'm not going to put anything up here anymore, I don't think. Because I want to put stuff on the main platform, and since I'm not talking about their main weapons of destruction, it just doesn't matter. So, if you see that scene, the alien encounter, this is what all these churches and these people that come to you and say, Jesus Christ sent me for the end times. I'm going to explain it all to you. They can't. They can't even understand the Bible. Even people I followed years ago, they don't understand what the Bible's about. And they say they've had visitation from Jesus. I don't doubt it. But at the same time, you know, one thing I love about Patrick is he was always coming with more every time. And I just discovered him of late. He's always saying, this is what I know now. This is what I know now. Over 5,000 different documents that he created, because based on all his study of all the laws, the congressional record, I mean, just endless. And what I do now is I look all these statutes up and stuff. They're not statutes. Okay, I'm gonna try not to skip over myself, okay? But anyway, at the end of that movie, the prodigal son, which most people do not understand, even people that have the biggest reach on YouTube, they will give them the biggest reach if they don't understand these stories. The prodigal son is, and I saw this as, I guess I did see it as the straw man, but I couldn't really articulate it. And then when Patrick, I knew there was a distinct difference between the two sons. But a lot of these people, they don't understand the significance of the robe and the signature ring. This all gets into banking. Nothing happens here without your endorsement or your acknowledgement. And just once again, you know, that's what the prodigal son got when he came home. And he had actually, eaten with the pigs in the pig pen. And then the other one, which never leaves. And again, you can use these stories for different things. People see them differently, but now I know exactly what it means. Is the prodigal son, the reason the other son doesn't leave is because he's a dead corpse. He's the straw man. And this is what I've been trying to explain to you for a long time. And explain, and a lot of you guys know this, so don't be bored. It's just reiteration. That this place operates on maritime law, admiralty law. We're admirals. But as soon as we're born, without our consent, these pirates, the ones that run this realm, that have all the power and all the money, they put us in slavery. And there's certain universal laws here. And this is why I believe a lot of people don't understand stuff, because they can't get this basic premise that you are worth a lot of money. If you have a birth certificate, you're worth a minimum $6,400,000. And they put liens every time you get a license to do anything in this beast system. They put a lien. So you want to study what a lien is. A lien is a lie. How is lien spelled? You'll never forget it if you remember it like this. It's lie-n. They're lying. L-I-E-N is a lien. It's a lion, and not a roaring lion. Okay? It's a lion because that's how they fund everything here. This is how they get all their money. These are why they're opening the border. Maybe that will help you understand it if this is new to you. I'm going to put this on YouTube. This is why they want these people to get a Social Security card. Been handing them out like candy. Because every time they do, they establish a new estate trust for that individual. And that's what allows them to say, I'm going to send 92 billion over to the stripper in Ukraine, right? The transsexual stripper, and which we all talked about. And we don't even know if those things really happen. Like, I don't believe anything they say. For me, it's always like they're doing everything to cause fear. And of course, they want to bring down the whole money system. But there's always going to be a monetary system here. And that's why all these religious zealots, they were really praying they were going to get raptured or picked up in a UFO. Meanwhile, they're all slaves. And they talk about slavery, right? They all want to escape this place via rapture. Why? When you understand you're a billionaire and you were robbed by the beast system, it should make you want to learn. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Shit. I usually come out much later, but I'm getting up so early to do all this work, all this paperwork. Everything here runs on contract. That's why you never want to talk to anyone on the phone. This is why they say they're going to record your phone call, because they want to make a transcript of it, because nothing works here unless it's in writing. You see? It's not to do better training for them. It's for them to document what you say that will incriminate you. That's why you never take a phone call from a bill collector, anything. So anyway, I wanted to just cover this real quick. In my last video, I showed you that clip, that long clip from the Alien movie. And I told you it was the best way I've seen the straw man destroyed by the surety. You're the surety. You back everything that goes on here. And this is like number one that people need to get before I believe they even embark on getting their EINs. If you don't understand how they have turned the monies table upside down here, these merchants, This is what the Lord, the Messiah, was talking about. The money changers. They turn the tables upside down. And then with the help of this religion, they keep everybody spellbound under this delusion. And then they just do everything they do all day long. So you have to get that first and foremost. That's why I showed you the video a long time ago. In the 70s, I think it was, they had a show called The $6 Million Man. And then the Bionic Man, the Bionic Woman. Why was it 6 million? Because there was a time in American history where every American put a stake for their land, and it was 640 acres. There's something about that number, which equates to 10, which equates to 1, reduces to 1. You're the one, the Neo. So, if you can study one thing today, I'm going to recommend you look this up. It's the 73rd congressional report. Yeah, the 73rd meeting. Congressional. Why can't I think of it right now? Don't mess with me. And it's talking about what happened in 1933. It explains right there when they took gold out. These are things you want to know as you move into discharging your debt and taking control of your estate. There's no reason to get raptured when you have all your money. There's no reason for anybody to be in poverty when they know this information. That's why I'll never charge for it, ever. And it's almost like it discounts what you're doing, and you're stepping over millions to collect a few pennies. It's very small thinking. But a lot of people, they try to put this information out and they don't really believe it. They haven't actually had any remedy. I have. I continue to have it. I also believe the reason I have remedy is because I started first with the UCC codes on the remittance and got letters back and stuff like that, which was all good. I think you should do it all. This is how you learn. And then God will lead you to the next thing you need to know. Like I was kind of regretting how I spent so much time focusing on these lizards and T-rump and all this stuff, which is all an integral part of the game here. You know, without them, there's no yin and yang. There's no reason to push. There's no reason to excel. And that's why we have so many cowards that want to be rescued from the game. And then there's just a handful. And this is when the heavens open up and the kingdom comes on earth as it is in heaven. When you're one of those people. And then you're a co-creator with God. And he isn't going to just hand it to you. This is what I've been trying to tell people. But in this country especially, we have an entitlist, not Titleist golf balls, entitlist attitude. You just want to, watch a video and think you can implement these things and they're going to work. Well, they might, but what happens when they don't? Are you going to have the spiritual fortitude to push forward just because you are a crusader for righteousness? That's what you're doing. That's why if you adopt a position of neutrality, that's really low on the consciousness evolution scale. Neutrality. That's like being lukewarm. So I've referred you to people that sell this information and stuff that wouldn't get you anywhere, really. Really. Because if you're going to come out and claim your sovereignty, that's only the start. What do you really want to accomplish, some of these poor people have been shot to death by these police officers because, they get their little, they free themselves, they think, from the system, and then they're ready to go war with them. Just because I don't like these flying monkeys doesn't mean I'm going to go to war with them, and I will pick my battles. It doesn't mean I'm not going to drive with registration. I don't know. I'll weigh it out. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to have to talk to them? I go to great lengths to never talk to a lot of people. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know you. I don't want to dialogue with you. I don't want my brain to hurt that much. So, yeah, you got to weigh it. It's got to be, even though it may not be right, Do you want to, like for instance, if somebody's living in their car or van full time, I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're a female, getting pulled over by one of these flying monkeys. I mean, these are freaks, for the most part. And you're alone and you got your animals. The next thing you know, they're towing off your home because they don't care, because you won't produce a driver's license and registration. So you have to, it's on a case-by-case basis, like what you're willing to, you pick your battles. And as women, I don't think we should really entangle ourselves with those creatures, as little as possible. So anyway, at the end of my last video here on BitSlap, that clip I showed you about killing the straw man, that whole scene is about what it's like. Literally, it's like a microcosm of when you go through life and you always got this monkey on your back. That's the monkey. This is the person, this alien, the straw man that they do business with here in your name, your entire life. And this is the whole story of the Messiah, killing the straw man and putting it in a metaphor. And you'll know that you're following a false prophet, a false leader, if they don't know the Bible's all written in metaphors. If they take it literally, there's something wrong with them. You got to run. But if you can't see it, then you probably won't. Holy Spirit reveals all truth. If you truly have the Holy Spirit, you'll know the Bible's not literal. So anyway, if you notice at almost the end, when she's watching the trees drop and burn, pay close attention. There's a little image of her face, and it's on the back of her head. So what the message is she's now has eyes in the back of her head. She's literally like the creature in the Bible that has eyes on all sides. You see? She sees it coming, she sees it going, and she's become one. What this church, all stemming from Rome, and these people that think they're gurus, that are literally demons, that teach you there's a good you and a bad you, and you're connected to the pit and shit like that, that's a demon. All the way live. Okay? So they keep you focused on the end of the world coming. How long has that one been saying it? 2 years now? Put the bounders out, everything. I quit watching it a long time ago. But it always has the grossest, most disgusting memes because people want their ears tickled, And it's a demon. Make no mistake about it. And total sociopath. Total. Dangerous. So it tells you that you're gonna you gotta, it doesn't even tell you how, but the two men have to become one. The whole Bible's about banking. So in that scene, when you see her kill the alien, kill the straw man, and then she exits the lighthouse, right? Lighthouse in the middle of the desert. Why a lighthouse? All biblical reference. And then as she's watching it all fall down, the tree of life, all of it. Now she's got the book of life, the living book of life, the living book of life. And the two men, she's killed the straw men, so the two have become one. This is the whole point of the Bible. This is the whole point of the New Testament. A lot of the stuff, the majority of what's in the Bible, that's the Pollyanna doctrine, this is where he writes all these 7 letters to the 7 churches. In Isaiah 4:1, it talks about in a certain period of time, like now, that 7 women will take the arm of 1 man. They actually, these polygamists, these freaks, these idiots that don't know anything about anything that's in the Bible, they think that's a literal statement. It's not. I could go, I'm going to read the whole chapter to you in a subsequent video, and I'll help you understand it even more. It's talking about the 7 ecclesiastical churches that have been completely spellbound by the Vatican, which is the beast. The beast system is the Vatican. And it's not any of these presidents. It's none of these people, which I all kind of thought at one time too, because of the stuff they do. No, it all comes from the Vatican. But again, the reason is because it's all about money. It's all about banking. All of our original birth certificates that were given to us at birth or around the time we're born are trusts. They are states. They have a monetary value that is assigned to them. They're all held at the Vatican. That's why Vatican controls everything. They have all the money. Our blood backs the money. This is why the Bible talks a lot about blood. And when you really understand this, and then you look at what the story that they've pitched to these 7 churches, it's unbelievable how grown men, 50 plus, are so asleep. That's what I mean. Like, there was a huge seal that was ripped open in 2020, a revelation, unlike any I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was unbelievable, and it still is. But a lot of people didn't get it. They didn't get it. And most of them are in the church, and they wear titles like teacher, preacher, pastor, and they haven't skipped a beat. If anything, they just think they're going to get raptured sooner. There's no such thing as a rapture. That's why the same people control all the Bible indoctrination colleges. They all teach this kind of nonsense. It started in the 1800s. So when you see that scene, that's what it's saying. That's killing the straw man. The straw man is the prodigal son, his brother, the surety they created, the W, all the references to all the movies, looking in the looking glass, the mirror, the W, they're always trying to make it like no one could really explain it, honestly, that I ever saw. And now I see it perfectly. They're always throwing it in our face. They do business, and we think, and this is just the best example. If you go into a court and you want to defend yourself on a ticket, a driving ticket, right? You think the judge is talking to you. No, he's talking to you as a representative of your surety, of your estate. They only can do business with all capital letters. A corporation, which is this is all run on a corporation. All these people that you send you a bill or invoice, they're all corporations. There's certain laws. They can only do business with another corporation. That's why they established a straw man for us at our birth. That's why there's a movie called The Wizard of Oz, which depicts it all. So, and then there's still a ton of other stuff going on. But see, now, when you start to get a hold of this, I don't know any problem that can't be resolved if you have money. Most people are in trouble. Most people can't afford a course of the people that need this kind of information. And, certain groups of people are no threat to the establishment. You know why? Because most of them are on food stamps and Section 8 housing. They don't present a threat. What's really interesting about Hebrew Israelites as a whole, they present no threat. The majority of people of color, even though a lot of white people are in that category too now. They're below the poverty line, and this is all planned. But also, God never gives us stuff without an escape. And this is the knowledge going to and fro. That's why I come down so hard on these Christians, and that's why they come against me so hard. Because I see right through them. Most of them are so brainwashed, and yet they think they're a truther. And they carry this lie bigger than anyone. It's amazing. Nothing's changed in their pitch in 25 years. And all the world does is get worse and worse and worse and worse. And all they do is try to point out the problems with this corporation. Let me explain this to you now, okay? You need to put in the Bible, you need to replace the Messiah with you. And then read it that way. Because this is you. This is why he says certain things. And again, you got to understand, this was originally done in Greek, and then it's been translated into all these different languages. That's why these antichrist, apostate, these leaders, they hang on every word. They try to twist it up and make it work for them, because they need to keep people as laborers in this system. You know, I might even find out at one point in time, people that I actually think actually really follow God actually work for agencies. Because at the end of the day, they want you so distracted and so confused. They want you believing all this religious bullshit that's out there. Look how they've invested in it. I mean, these people get tons of money from the CARES Act just for having a C501c3. There's a lot of benefits to working for the Roman Empire. And you know, they may say they're different or whatever, and they just have to do it so they can have a church. No, they're cowards, and they're lukewarm. They live a life of neutrality. Okay, they try to get along with everyone. This is a war. You have to pick a side. That's why the Messiah said, I'll spit you out of my mouth. You think you're going to get along with everybody? Go live in fucking Sweden. You're not. You need to pick a side. So, that's why people I've referred you to, I'm just like later, the more I learned, I was just like, oh my God, I could never understand that person either. I'm not going to say who it is. Not saying, you know, they can't help you with their services, but it really is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like, you really got to know so much more if you're going to actually, I mean, I don't even understand how that's beneficial to come out and be sovereign if there's no monetary benefit, if your life doesn't radically improve. Instead, people are getting shot in their car because they misunderstand it all when they're trying to fight with these flying monkeys. You know what I mean? That's why this process that I'm doing, I know it can benefit people so much because I've gotten results. So I told you, I'll never share it with you until I get results. And most of these people out there will not call you back, and they want to sell their information, and you don't get it. You know, whatever is freely given to you, it's like if you don't see this from a spiritual aspect, you don't get it. If you don't believe, which I've always believed, that God will always see me through everything. I never look to man to be my source on anything. That's why I would never sell this kind of information, because this kind of information is what frees us as slaves in the system. And the more people that know about it, the better it is for all of us. That's how this is. So, the basic thing you understand is you're a millionaire, a gazillionaire, okay? That's first and foremost. And they are pirates, and they stole your inheritance. And then they determine if they're going to give you some food stamps. They do all this because you lack knowledge. I lack knowledge on this stuff for a long time. I've been around a while. And that's why I'm so excited. You know, the end of my life could be the best part of my life now. Because I just literally went, I can't work around these people anymore. They're all weird. I mean, they're something else. But if you have enough money, you can go buy acreage. You could go live in another country. You buy your own plane, your own boats, whatever you need to get the fuck away from them. That's why this is so important. You don't want to put your kids... See, this is how they get you, especially if you're doing their subsidies, right? All of their welfare programs. You have to abide by their rules. You got to put your kids in their indoctrination. And they don't teach them any of this. They teach them how to be slaves in the system. Make no mistake. If I had children, I would never send them to this indoctrination. And this is why certain people, they have no worries about. Mostly Hebrew Israelites. They will stay slaves in the system because they're looking for their Messiah or whatever to come back and rescue them and save them. They're looking for at least upgraded technology like a UFO. The Christians just want a rapture, some airy fairy bullshit like at Disneyland. Tomorrowland. It always keeps you in Tomorrowland. You have no power at all when you live like that in futurism. That's why they do it. As long as you are distracted, you're in la la land, you put a video up for years telling people that he's coming back to get you and all this. Meanwhile, you live a life of quiet desperation and poverty. And then you all war against one another. It's those people, it's that color of skin, that. And you never look at the real enemy, ever. Because you're a slave. And you can't even comprehend that money's the mark of the beast. Can't even go there. Because you can't understand the Bible. You've been led astray. It's okay to say you didn't know. Unreal. Pride. There's pride involved. You'll literally go to your grave with it. I see it in some of them. They're so brainwashed. It's so scary. But anyway, a little windy here. Okay, let me use this as an example, okay? You want to go, I'm going to say car, but it applies to anything that you're going to finance. And you have to finance stuff because since everything here is built on debt and liens, L-I-E-N, then you can't afford anything. It's designed that way. It's designed so you never have enough cash to actually go in and pay for a car. They used to cost $2,500. They are so cheap now. The stuff they make is designed, the obsolescence factor, they're designed to like just quit working within 5 years. Ask any good mechanic. I mean, they're literally made like, I don't know. I don't even know what you call it. It's so cheap. Everything's throwaway. So, the technology of before was far superior. Look at the old buildings that have survived, just if you need any help with that. We have shit now. We have shit houses, shit cars, shit everything. So, when you go buy a car, and that's another thing, there's even people I watch, before I get into it, on YouTube, because they're very spiritual, and they have different ways of looking at stuff, but I'm always interested in how they perceive things. And I wouldn't ever give them a thumbs down or anything, because I'm not a retard, I allow people to have their own opinion and their own ideas based on what their age is, how they were brought up. I mean, why would they see things like me? Especially the more different we are. So I'm always interested in how other people see stuff. But, they'll even get on every now and then and say they need money. And it's like, well, it's clear you have a slave job. How come you don't have enough money? Now you're driving a really great car. You see what I mean? But that's the kind of person that will never ask these questions. They're so sedated. Generation after generation after generation of being a slave. And then, to compensate, they want to focus on slavery of hundreds and thousands of years ago. Meanwhile, we're all slaves until we do this procedure. Slaves aren't their own bank. Slaves aren't bankers. Slaves don't have control over their estate. They farm it out. They hire out someone else to take care of it. And because you lack knowledge, the Masons know that you need to be managed. They make sure you have no knowledge because they want to manage you. And you see it on a microcosm, on any level. When people get a little bit of power over others, I mean, it's almost like, even if they're teaching lies on YouTube, if they have the reinforcement of fake followers, there's no way they can confirm they're real. It tells them they're right. And it's an aphrodisiac. They don't even need to be real. That's the beauty of the internet. The internet will promote mostly morons that keep the system going the way they want. Sound asleep with religion and, all of it. And then for the stuff that they really, you can tell by the stuff you can't put on the internet what is the most powerful. And that would be the medical industrial complex. I guess because of my age, I haven't forgotten anything. It blows my mind how that came and went. That whole, years of that crap. The cases, all of it. And the residue that remains. It changed our world forever. That was a major time of a seal. Revelation. And it was just amazing to see how few got it. Okay, so you go, let me use this as an example. Let me put a little chart in here I was trying to make. We all believed at one point in time that we have to borrow money from a bank or a lending institution to get a loan in order to buy a car, right? Most of us don't care where the money comes from, especially if we have bad credit, right? So you go to a car dealership, you pick out a car. Do you think they own those cars? Nope. How did the cars get there? They're just on assignment from the corporation. Where did they get the money to build the cars? They got it from your estate. From liens that go on in the background through the government to fund these corporations so that they have the money to open their doors, open dealerships, and a lot of times they even demand the people that, you know, want to have a dealership pay for it, right? Because they want to make money any way they can. They have no money. They have absolutely no money. When you borrow money, they have no money. They create an entry on a ledger. This is all credits and debits. And the biggest lie that we live under, and this is why Christ tipped over the money changers table, is that you think, I think, or used to think I was a debtor, a borrower. Now I know I'm the creditor. So I really believe it's important for people to get this. You have to, otherwise you won't have the wherewithal, the spiritual knowledge, the interest to learn more, unless you know what has gone on here. And then when you see how the Bible's written to warn us about all this stuff and what they've done with the Bible to keep people not focused on anything real, all it does is it keeps you a cog in the wheel. It keeps you laboring your whole life, the best years of your life, just to have a roof over your head, a car to drive, and a job that usually you hate. I don't care who you are. You have to work with people you can't stand, and there's always some moron over you because they only elevate people like themselves to be over others. Lizards. A lot of these things are straight up demons, depending on the size of the country. Ford is an evil company. And then when you go to get the loan, they just create the money. And they do that at the same time they attach the amount of the loan, plus interest, plus all the stuff, all the add-ons, license, registration, all that. They put a lien. You need to study and understand what lien means, because you're gonna, and you get into this, you're gonna be liquidating all these because they're all fraudulent. And they secure their money with that lien. And then they go even one step further and they place another lien against your car until you pay it off a second time. You paid to build the car, you paid to finance it, they got paid in the back in full. The car is paid in full after 3 years. 3 is the magic number. And you can get all that money back if you went the 3-year duration. You get all that money back that you paid on that car. You're not supposed to pay for anything here. And this is why you want to start studying things like the congressional record, the 73rd meeting, and I believe it's on page 83, and it talks about the 1933 Gold Act, when they introduced paper money. These are things you really want to understand, that money is a promissory note, and it has no value. Instead, these demons out there that come to you in the name of Jesus, they're saying, look at all this stuff. I even did it at one time. All these pictures on the money, right? What does that do? It keeps you from really understanding what money is. Money is a promise to pay you later. That's what the national debt's all about. Because everybody here has to live in debt. Most of them don't even understand it. How could you, unless you understand what I just told you about how money works here? So that's what keeps you in the labor. And meanwhile, they've outsourced all of our jobs to other countries. Meanwhile, AI is taken over with apps, and people just stare into this thing, and this demon tells it where to drive, what to pick up, where to go. I mean, it's unreal. That's why people are so stupid, like really. If you have intellect and a brain, you can't do jobs like that. You can't. I can't. I did it once or twice here and there, but mostly I do stuff just to see what it's like how this stuff operates. That's why we have such a dumbed down society now. That's why anybody can come over the border. They give them a social security number, got to have that, get a driver's license, and insurance. Insurance is illegal too. All this stuff, it just kills us. That's why money is the mark of the beast. but you're so impervious to it. You just think it's natural to, no, it's not. Bartering's natural. Trading is natural. Money is unnatural. It's the mark of the beast. And it seems like these resets go like 140 years or so. And then you see the remains. And then we had the seal that opened up in 2020. A lot of us, for the first time in our lives, started looking at all this stuff. Prior to that, our eyes were closed. See, the Spirit of God gave us sight. It revealed everything to us. That's why we see stuff, and these people in these churches can't see it. They don't have the Holy Spirit. It lacks the Spirit of God. That's why the Messiah would go into these synagogues of Satan and tell them, remind them about their laws, right? So, yeah, the prodigal son is a straw man. I mean, he's not the straw man. But this is why the Father is so pleased with him. But it doesn't really, see, and then you go on and you read more, and you read about the crucifixion. That is the crucifixion of your straw man. That's why that scene in that last video I put up is the best depiction I've seen about what it's like, how it clings to you, especially when you don't know what it is. And then when you get to the point where you're ready to destroy it, it's a big deal. It's a process. That's why I saw that to be so outstanding. And I can assure you, most people don't know what that scene means. They actually think that's an alien or something. No, it's your straw man. And this is how they work around it here to keep everybody spellbound in this black magic that we live in. It's all black magic. So what happens is, the way these people have been doing this stuff for a while, which is fine, because I even believe Patrick might have did this at one point. They were coming in and, filing a UCC1, Universal Commercial Code, and trying to learn all these statutes and stuff. And it's weird because the Holy Spirit showed me there was something flawed with that methodology, mostly because of the people I heard it from. Like a couple in particular, I know the character of them, and they're not good people. So that's what was the biggest reason why I couldn't wrap my head around it, nor wanted to. I knew there was something wrong with it just because I knew the individual that was talking about it. So I just kind of put that on the back burner. And meanwhile, I was learning about Admiralty Maritime Law and, studying the Bible, of course, and all this stuff. But really feeling hopeless over the last year, because I'm like, even more, with everything I know, I can't be around these zombies at all. At all. And then I'm trying to make all these ideas and plans of how I can escape, this society, if you will, and have enough money to do it. It's all about money. It's all about money here. Every minute, every second of every day. Everything here is about money. If you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. Then you just accept it. I've always I didn't understand how my little mother had 4 children and then went to these piece of shit jobs. I don't know how she did it. I couldn't. No way. And leave her children with other people, demons, that she thinks are going to take good care of them because she's a solid, righteous individual. But anyway, all women should be with their children. You should never hand them off to anyone, especially in this day and age. There's something terribly wrong with you if you do it. Like, you have no clue of what's going on. Granted, I know a lot of parents can be evil too, but it's even more evil out there. So, anyway, so the table is turned. That's why Jesus turned it right side up. That's why we turn it right side up. The money changers. That's why the merchants, as you wake up, Revelation is all about waking up to all this. And that's why when the more of us that wake up and start doing this, and then it catches fire, then everybody has their money, The only reason any evil goes on at all, there's always, of course, the 3% of twisted, but militias and tribes take care of those people historically. It's not even an issue. You don't need prisons. Prisons is one of their biggest methods of making money. That whole thing's going to fall apart too when people wake up to this. And I mean, we're just in a different open air prison. They're behind gates, but it's all for money. This is how these lizards fund everything they do, because there's certain universal laws here. This is where you got to really get this. You were born with an inheritance. 666, same amount of money that King Solomon had in gold. I did a video on it a long time ago. It's all about money, you guys. It's all about money. So what we're doing now, so before what they were doing, which is no problem, you know, it's like Patrick, he was always learning. That's why when I come to you, I'm always learning. It's what I know thus far. You know, I thought this before, but now I'm going here. And that's fine. You know, that's how it works. That's how we learn. I don't know why people are afraid to say stuff. Like, it's weird. The pride involved is weird. I don't get it. You're living in hell. This is literally purgatory hell. And the kingdom comes on earth as it is in heaven when you get knowledge, because people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You get it? Yet. Again, I'm saying that to people that will never see this video. Okay, so this process that I'm doing now, okay, you want to get your 3 EINs, and I loved how Patrick said that's the Trinity, and it is. And then you start learning about this stuff. But the first thing you got to learn, in my opinion, a lot of people gloss over, is that you were born with money. Don't even call it an inheritance. Most people are looking for a man to ride up on a white horse. And you don't need that. Just use your own money. And you don't have to work on YouTube and tell lies all day. You know? You can see the reason everybody lies here is you have to because of money. That's why everybody's fake, because you have to present yourself a certain way, otherwise they're not going to pay you. That's why everything's fake. Everything. Why does somebody that teaches the gospel need to go to a Bible school, do you think? Because they control it. It's indoctrination. Biggest weapon they have to control the mind, to put the crown of thorns on. These people, unbeknownst to them for the most part, actually put the crown of thorns on all of their followers. So before, they were filing UCC bonds. They're doing essentially what these guys do, right? So this method's new and different in that we come in, and this is why I think I get it, is because of my study in the Bible and also my understanding of maritime admiralty law. You got to understand that it's all based on the law of the sea here. And that's why I told you, you guys, if you followed me and you have any interest in the Bible at all, you're going to get this stuff quicker than a lot of people. Because it's just, it's directions and metaphors, all done in a metaphor fashion of how this thing works. So, and Christ tipping over the money changer, that's what you're going to do. You tip over the money changer's table when you see it. You see? And then you come out of slavery. You're a slave until you do it. I don't care what you tell people, what you read out of the Bible. You're a slave. Doesn't matter what they did in slavery years ago. You're a slave right now. How does that affect your life? Are you worshiping some guy in a robe and giving him money so he tells you something that you think is really uplifting and good and truthful? Supporting his lifestyle, getting him his Hummers, his vacation homes. Why? Because you don't know you're a slave. We're all slaves until we get this information. Okay. So know that you have an inheritance. Know that they've been stealing from you your entire life. And now you're going to take control of your estate. You're going to cut all of them off. you're going to step in to being the fiduciary, the banker. This is the difference in what these other people of old did, which is no problem. They started. They got a lot of remedy, I'm sure. But this puts you in a position where you're over them. And when you really start to understand this stuff, you can walk into any court of law and the judge knows that you stand over him. Because see, they work and understand maritime admiralty law. And the only reason any of their stuff works is because people lack knowledge. That's the only reason. But see, this even works better when you come in as banker and trustor. You see? You're a private banker, an individual banker. And you're taking control of your estate. So you're going to have to do documents that inform the different... Let's let this go by real quick. The different federal government entities like the IRS, the Secretary of Treasury. Finally, I get to have some correspondence with Janet Yellen. Now I kind of think it's good that they're in these positions, even if it's not even a real person in it. There's just a name, you know, and a picture that goes with this office. These are all things you're going to be sending documents to. And yeah, a lot of people have gone to jail. And it's just weird when you get into this and you understand different time frames that are needed to do different things. They add up to 6, they add up to 10 days, which reduces to 1, which is the beginning and the end. Some of you, I told you this a long time ago, some of you will be thrown into prison for 10 days. What that means is it reduces to 1, which means from beginning to end of your life until you come out of slavery. See, they're waiting for tribulation to happen. These myths that have been carried down, you know, for generations. And meanwhile, your whole life is tribulation because you're living as a slave. You're living in bondage. And when you become the Messiah, you become the Christ, you kill your straw man, you get your 2 keys of the kingdom comes on earth as it is in heaven. Now you have access to all your money. What kind of good can you do in your life and the lives of others if you had unlimited resources?